This is Hello Truth Seekers, and we are your rightful Sherpas through the blizzard of bullshit that is the flashy and fugly world of Prince Harry and #Princess Meghan. What it do, ladies and gents? It is a Sunday and we welcome you back to our channel. Everyone, grab your air raid sirens, and oh, I can feel the big mustache energy getting louder over my keyboard, so here we go. Princess Anne has finally had enough of her red-headed nephew Harry's royal rebel ways, and she doesn't want to hear any more of his rude-ass excuses. But before we talk about the choppy waters of this reveal, if you haven't already, please subscribe and tap that bell for notifications as well. You will not want to miss the explosion of content we have planned. So now, my palace sources tell me, it was Anne who effectively rallied the troops, and the whole family were currently on lockdown on euthanizing Harry's spare sequel. And she summoned the king to an emergency summit in order to confront the king, Queen Camilla, William and the other senior royals. She insisted they needed to control the situation before it escalated into a full-blown crisis. Anne has always been rather no-nonsense, but Harry profiting off the first memoir was reportedly enough for her to go completely cold-blooded on his ass. She said he's done with appeasement, and told the royals to give up their usual pussyfooting approach. To her mind, this conscience-free entrepreneur is waging all-out war on the company with his ongoing, truth-bombing of the firm. Hence the need for extreme countermeasures that are both justified and required to survive. This insatiable urgency that he tries to paint himself as a tragic victim yet addicted to commodifying his private hurt has become an oppressive fixation with the boy. Red-hot mustache, fair sizzling with wrath. His gratuitous exploitation of our family has no sweet purpose, and once the same mental frailty is accepted of IAS, even less patience for him can be regarded as tolerable. This is our moment of truth. Confront him fully or there will be no institutions remaining. What the quotes really were, to my sensitive, soon-to-be eroded bones, was a blast of near raw, both eroded intensity. And has had years to cultivate her air of the royal hard ass, but this was in crossing the Rubicon aboard that barge to Meghan Harry existential warfare. Beneath the surface, she's always been a power behind the scenes and a voice of reasonableness, but now that the very pillars of the establishment have been eaten away, her no-nonsense executive posture needs to come out looking much, much stronger. And believe me, this was Anne in beast mode and locked in. Armed with binders of receipts, he showed up to that summit with nary a slight or a breach or a confidence inadvertently made that she did not have committed to memory in her effort to banish Harry once and for all as the potential threat now turned cancer. This was speech-writing genius-level antagonistic oppo prep to take apart his delicate public persona. She literally played back excerpts of his greatest past whoppers and Photoshop historical revisionism and listed the rote, non-stop contradictory drivel from the Montecito truth hostage-takers line by line. I mean weird visceral condemnations of how Harry has gleefully commodified that wealthy due of generational privilege and security bought and paid for by line after dutiful public servant before him. There's no squirming or slithering wiggle room. And perhaps most scathing of all, and brutally torched both Harry and Meghan for their rampant woe is me victim complex, their penchant for self-obsessed grievance and self-pity that sees them forever cast themselves as victims in spite of how much reach, wealth and freedom is provided to them. She had over the last 7 years damned them both as completely insane in their cynical causes, inflated by entitlement that had gone sour and mature into toxic and chronic narcissism. So repugnant did and find the stink of ingratitude, reflexive dishonor, etc., that it seems she wanted the family to cut their losses and torpedo their ties for good if the book's train fired up again. Nuclear differential type retaliation outside the box righteousness that would in essence make Harry the world's most reviled pariah in perpetual exile. The usual appeasers like Charles and William were said, of course, to be loath to go to such extremes against family, desperate to placate and de-escalate as usual now. Note that Anne had the perfect snappy response that quashed that weak line of reasoning instantly. To her way of thinking, Harry rather escaped from the Windsor name and values years ago, when he went over to join Meghan's cult of sociopathic self-worship. In his case, she believes he lost all right to claim any loyalty or benefits from the franchise the moment he allowed his pride to override his obligation. Do you know what part of the reason and was trying so desperately to force Harry to unequivocally condemn the cunt, aside from not wanting a current of toxic poison seeping out to every corner of the rest of the family further down the line? She sees the lasting corrosion of leaving it untreated, and she doesn't want any more relatives seduced into Harry's delusional state of royal spitting, grieved personality disorder. The begummed grandmother, double entendre, that she is, Han is in there saying he has to be stripped naked and hung from a lamppost on the mall, an exemplar or something that will prevent every would-be blackguard from even considering blackguarding ever again. Drawing a clear line between how the papacy dealt with Martin Luther in the 1600s, she is literally campaigning for excommunication in the 2010s. Union broken, money gone, everything simply taken. Potentially even go nuclear, and write Harry out of the historic record entirely on symbolism alone, his lineage struck from the annals, the ultimate of cancellations. In other words, no half measures this time. And then the more sensible stakeholders were, shocked at Anne's Hitchian Old Testament ideas for what to do about Harry. In her mind, however, it is the only way to be able to never-endingly defend the integrity of the institution for the generations that are still to come. By now, to hesitate would be to affix a rubber stamp to the loss of the whole of the monarchy as fit for ESPN highlights and National Enquirer headlines in due course. And here, the renegade princess would not be swayed. You already know, after all, what Anne's background and bulldog dedication. If nothing else, it is the most direct and immediate danger for Harry to counter. A woman who once infamously ragdolled a Buckingham Palace security officer into a headlock and refused to release him until he said uncle, and who had the respect of Uruguayan military hardmen at the zenith of their belligerence. Who also made international headlines by coolly dismissing a guns-wielding would-be kidnapper in the most British way possible. Reset. So yeah, I cannot emphasize this enough. If you've enraged Auntie Anne to the point that she's called up the Royal Gestapo to have you ritualistically and eternally banished, you're done. From there on out, game on, pal. No more niceties. No more pulling punches or mincing words. Nothing but scorched earth, and the rather serious possibility of being literally written out of the blood family forever. But will those really be going to be pretty hardcore tactics? So long as this can break through the internal bunker mentality of Prince Harry in coming months, and that probably depends on how easily he listens to any rational counsel from cooler heads. Because WTFN, when the Anne's with me if you agree but against me if you don't. If holding your nose let's do that again broadsides are just not something that you sweep under rugs and keep on Kalina truth-bombing past. She has finally shown her hand and drawn a clear line in the dirt that the money-hungry residents of Montecito will either stay on one side or the other at their own risk moving forward. But hey, we can all agree that it's a nice change of pace to have a new foil in the firm that isn't just Harry and Meghan constantly pushing back on it. Stop the hand-wringing and the pandering around them and their hostage-taking careering and shrieking displays, and scorched earth salvo is the sovereign finally growing a pair of balls and fighting back. Even if they do not self-immolate, the deterrent effect of such unflinching ferocity is not to be underestimated. Finally, grown-ups are prying the car keys out of the hands of these conniving sociopaths and their sporadic sad clown slander moments. A bloody backbone God willing other than the Queen is finally open to sticking it straight to Harry, the one and only person who directly challenges his delusion with all the fire that he so cravenly brings upon himself. If the royals stand any chance of ending this civil war and regaining their dignity, then they could do a lot worse than taking a lead from Princess Anne and her zero-tolerance philosophy. What do you guys think about that? Comment with what you think, please. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to YouTube for more shocking stories and scandalous expose_videos. Sign up for my Royal Court newsletter to get the latest from the world of the royal family. Thanks for watching. Come back here for more juicy royal family gossip. Bye for now.